Hi there, and in this tutorial I'm gonna show you how to export as images your artboards and some assets, we call them assets, some artworks that you want to put somewhere on a website, I don't know, maybe on the iPhone or Android, something like this. Let's start with the artboards. First of all, let's go to artboard, come to property, we have artboards. If you edit artboard, you notice you have artboard 01 and artboard 02. Don't look at the name of the artboard, look at the number. So this is 01 and this 02. Okay, and this is what will be exported. To export an artboard is very easy. You come to File and you go to Export and you say Export As. That's the best solution for now. And of course, you select your folder. So I'm going to go to Desktop and you have Illustrator here. I'm going to put it over here. And of course, you need to choose your format. PNG will be a nice format, but in our case, JPEG will do better because we don't have any transparencies. PNG will be quite good for transparencies. Now, you need to check Use Artboards if you want to just take one artboard, not all of them. If you don't use artboards, it's going to export all the artboards next to each other as one JPEG. You might want that, I don't know. So use artboards, and the range here usually comes 1, 2, or whatever artboards you have. In our case, we want only this artboard. Now we click Export. Now, the JPEG option over here. First of all, the color mode is RGB, and the quality. Come over here, you have quality low, which is 1. You're going to have a smaller file, but the quality is not going to be good. You have the medium, which is set as a 3, and you have the high at 6, which is pretty good. And you have the maximum, which gives you a large file, and the quality, of course, is quite good. Let's go for high. Now, the next thing you need to look at is the resolution. You have the resolution 722 ppi, or this is pixel per inch, or 150 or 300. I usually like to go for the 300. You might decide you want smaller files, and you go for 150. I will keep the 300. This is my standards. You can choose whatever you like. And you click OK. And here you are. Let's go and see our work. So we come to Desktop, Export for Web. This is what we did now. And we double click and we have a very nice file. Pretty big. That's because it's 300 ppi. And the size is 528K. Now, if you decide that the file is large, it's too large for the web, you can go for 150 ppi, and medium, it will be fine, or smaller files, whatever. It's your choice. So that's it. It's actually pretty easy. Let's go over here now. And we have several artworks that we want to export as assets, meaning we want to put them on certain websites, iOS, Android, whatever. Want to use them on the web. And also want the background to be transparent. We don't want to see any whites here. Now, the way to do that is to come to Window. And this is how I will do it, actually. Asset Export. Very handy asset export here. You select your item, you click on it, and just drop it inside Export. So now it is the butterfly here. I'll show you where the name came from. Take the other one and put it here, and this one just put it over here. Now I'm going to select these guys and just drop it here. But notice what happened. I went into trouble that it's going to make 2 images of each because we have 2 objects over here. The trick is, first of all, we delete them. So you select 1, Shift 2, and you go to the dustbin and delete them. So the trick is to group them, as simple as this. So now they are one single group. I'm going to click and drag and put it there. If they are not grouped, they will go object by object. But notice here, Asset 23, yet Butterfly, Monster, Sponsor. How did it happen? Well, if you go to your layers, I had already renamed the layers, the groups, in fact. So you have the group Sponsor. I selected them all, grouped, and name it Sponsor, and so on for all of them except this group here. I'm going to rename this group. And it's not going to change anything here, but I can double click here and also rename it in case you made the mistake. Now you come to choices. This will be the default, a PNG file. You can turn it down and you have PNG and JPEG and SVG. Well, in our case, JPEG will not work because we will have a white background. You can choose SVG or PNG. Lots of people are working in SVG. It's more scalable and it's editable, by the way. This is your first one. Your preference is PNG, but you can add, which says here, another scale. But we don't want any scaling of the PNG, make it 4 times bigger. We want to have another format, which is SVG. So the scaling disappeared, and now you have the SVG. Now notice you need to select everything here. So I select the first one, shift, select the last one, and go to export. I don't like going to export here if I haven't done this for a long time. I prefer to set certain preferences. And I will click on launch the export for screen dialog. Actually, this is the export for screen. There are 2 settings here that are important that you look at least the first time. Open location after export. I like this one. And of course, you want to set where it's going to be exported. So I'm going to click here and exactly where I want it. So I created a folder here. Export web. That's what I wanted. And I wanted to open, but surely I don't want to create subfolders. I could create subfolders by scale. So 1 scale, 2 scale, 3, or by format. It will be one subfolder for PNG, another one for SVG. No, I don't like this at all. So I don't want to create any subfolders. So once you have done these settings, you can start exporting directly from the asset export panel. I will click on export assets. Notice it's coming out very nicely. Now for each artwork, I have one in PNG and one in SVG, and of course the rest. So you double click, you have a perfect image. Here it's showing with white. That's the viewer. Don't worry about it. It doesn't have any white. Now, if you double click on the SVG, it will open in Illustrator. You can come over here, quite small image. And notice that this is the color of the artboard, the white one. And you have exactly what you need from everything that you have put over here is just here. Now, this is quite good because it's going to be very scalable on your website. I recommend a lot using SVGs. They are pretty scalable. And PNGs when you really want a PNG and don't play with my image. This is exporting artboards and exporting assets with the asset export and of course export for screens assets.